All right, so let's go.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks, Joy. Thanks, Dipanjan. Thanks, Nisar. Thanks, Vivek.
Thank you. Thank you. So who is this fourth speaker? We can share screen, right? So
yes. So Joy, we'll do a little sort of intro and then we'll start.
yes, sure.
And I think in the finest tradition of Indian Standard Time, it may be a while before everyone shows up. So now we had 1,500 registrants for this, and we are only showing. So I think people will start coming just about now. Himanshu, what's the scheduled time for the event?
6.
6. Oh, okay. So we are a little early.
So we'll wait for like 1-2 minutes more.
Yeah, all right.
we can start.
All right. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Siddharth Das, CEO and co-founder of Univ.AI, which is the hosting company behind the Geoffrey Hinton Fellowship. We hope that you and your loved ones are doing well. The last couple of months have been really challenging for everyone around us, including us here. We've had a really tough time. And we're all very thankful for having, gotten through the last couple of months and emerging all right on the other end. So I hope that's also the case for all of you. So let me tell you a little bit about us and this event. So I'm Siddharth Das, like I just said, and a couple of professors and I created Univ.AI about 2 years ago. And this is when we started working on the idea. Prior to that, I was the CEO of one of India's largest a company in one of India's largest industrial conglomerates, Reliance. I'm sure that's not an unknown name for any of you. And it was there that kind of we hatched the idea and decided to create this institution. The idea behind the institution was to create an alternative to sort of the great big institutions like MIT and Caltech and Stanford, and make some of their attributes, at least, if not the institutional qualities themselves, online in a format that very closely resembles what you get in the real universities. And we decided to do that for machine learning and AI, simply because it's a very exciting area. And clearly all of you are here because that is so. And we think, and I hope you think too, that that what happens between now and the next 10 or 20 years will make what has happened with the internet in the last 20 years seem almost pale. And that is the nature of history, that the pace of change accelerates. And I think we will see the world getting more and more and more interesting as the time goes by. And once you put things like quantum computing and more developing deep tech on the scene, I think the possibilities are enormously exciting. So that's about our teaching endeavor. We put together this initiative, the GHF, and here today you're seeing all the key architects of the Geoffrey Hinton Fellowship. There's one of the country's leading data scientists, Matangi, who is here today. You can see her, and our very young and energetic team comprising Nasir, Atul, Sudhanshu, and Himanshu, all here again, who helped put together this Geoffrey Hinton Fellowship. Some of you might be aware that the fellowship was actually kicked off by Hinton himself with a lecture on a very interesting subject that's available on our website for those who haven't seen it and might want to see it. The reason we created GHF was primarily aimed at the learner, whether it's in the academia or in the industry. Initially, our first contest, our first hackathon was exclusively for students, but now we're going to create a new segment for working professionals. And our goal is, even though partially fulfilled, is a very clear one, that we want to provide a forum not just for recognition, but increasingly for participation, with not just one star opportunity, like for example, a flagship hackathon where people participate once and get an interesting award and be done. Our idea is very different, that we want to do 8 to 10 of these every year, constantly. And we'd want to recognize people for participation in lots of these and showing consistent progression, participation, progression, and obviously accomplishment, right? So what do you think will happen if increasingly more and more of young folks like you participate in this? We think what will happen is that, of course, a very interesting community of learners will be created where we will be able to create interesting opportunities to learn. And by interesting opportunities, I just don't mean problem sets, right? So speaking of which, it's a good time to introduce this idea of what we're going to do in the next, I think, 15, 20 days. I don't know if the date's been announced, but Matangi is going to debrief the hackathon. And I encourage most of you to attend because I think there you'll find out a lot about the design intent of the problem, what kind of insights we expected everybody to have from the problem, our evaluation and assessment of these sort of submitted solution sets, and the takeaways, right? And I think that'll be a very interesting session simply because you'd get to sort of see the thought behind what we are doing. So the reason I mentioned that is also one of our goals. In, for example, inviting today's kind of Starcast here is also partial fulfillment of that objective, that we get people who are able to provide something more than sort of this front-faced learning, right? And I think learners can benefit a lot from such communities, insights, and progressively sort of increasing and improving opportunities of both accomplishing and demonstrating accomplishment. One outcome of this process will be that that we will be able to orchestrate both sort of companies and other kinds of these opportunities to come and solicit people to hire into internships, to jobs, essentially to create the next step, which is the next logical outcome of any kind of learning opportunity, right? Irrespective of whether you're working or whether you're a student, I think being able to create these opportunities will be exciting. And there's no other forum today worldwide or in the country that actually is a large number of people. It's one thing to identify who are the top 5 data scientists in the country or 10 in the country and work with them. But it's quite another to know that we have like 1,000, 2,000 amazing high potential people who can go on to do great things around, right? So this is one of our core goals, and I hopefully like this is the direction that we'll be able to sort of proceed and achieve great successes in, right? And so with that, let's quickly start with our program today. We have 4 exceptional guests whom we will introduce in a short while. But quickly, we have Mr. Joy Mustafi, who's the president and founder of Must Research. He is a storied human being, holds dozens of patents, I think more than 60 or 70, many of them with top companies like IBM. He was one of the key architects of IBM Watson, and then went on to work with Microsoft, and now runs Must Research, which is in some sense a public research platform which pursues AI for global good, right? We're very glad to have Joy here. We have 3 others whom you will meet in short order: Mr. Vivek Fuloria, Mr. Nisarg Dave, and Mr. Dipanjan Sarkar, all very accomplished AI and data scientists, and we'll have a panel discussion with all of us in a little bit. So the first thing I'd want to do is invite Joy to deliver today's keynote, after which we'll have a short panel, and finally we'll go on to the main purpose of this evening, which is to deliver the awards for the GHF episode number 1. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Joy and sort of look forward to hearing him speak. Welcome, Joy.
Hello, welcome everyone. Thanks, Siddharth. So I would request to make me co-host so that I can share my screen. Yeah.
Yep.
Let me try. So just tell me whether it is visible.
Yes, I can
Yes.
see it.
Okay, so hello everyone, and thanks Siddharth for the introduction. So I'm not introducing again myself. So, and my topic is are applications of AI research, right? So both of these words are very important: applications and research. And what I found in my 2 decades of experience, like sometimes these two are disjoint set. Either people are doing very deep research, but those are not being applied for a lot of, I mean to consume, right? I mean, for a lot of products or solutions which should be consumed. At the same time, if we develop a lot of applications, probably we don't get time to do research, right? So what we have done here, right, in Mask Research, we focus on those areas, and especially which are very close to the society, especially the topics like education, healthcare, agriculture, retail, transportation, right? And we started with a bunch of different problem solving kind of mechanism, because even when AI got started, right, the first I mean objective was to simulate the human brain, right? I mean, so if I just go to the next slide, right? So what is AI? First of all, AI is not new, right? I mean, although the recent hype on AI or machine learning, so everyone is looking towards that, right? Each and every company or university, they are all focusing on artificial intelligence, data science, and machine learning. But the thing is, like the phrase AI was first time coined by Professor John McCarthy and his team in MIT in 1956, which is like, I mean, late 50s, right? I'm just imagine, right, in 1956, in one of the conferences, they actually used this term. And that was, again, they thought about like how we can simulate like the human brain, how we can do something which will be like, again, decision making power and all based on certain inputs, and then lot of like iterations will happen, just like what happens in our brain. And then a lot of research started, like with few things, right? Even before the artificial intelligence term, like there are like learning checkers and strategies, right? I think most many of you have probably heard about IBM Deep Blue, which is again came in late 90s, which was a chess playing computer, which actually defeated the at that time the grandmaster Garry Kasparov. But the thing is, like, there is a little bit difference between AI and machine learning. So machine learning is definitely a subset of AI. So AI is I mean, it's more vast field where we are trying to simulate the human brain, and which may not having like the I mean, the machine learning component itself, right? And a lot of different applications like machine translation, solving word problems in algebra, right? Proving some theories. Even language was very important, like at the time of even Second World War time, right? People started like thinking how we can automatically translate like few words from like Russian to English or German to English, and or just opposite way, right? So vice versa. So that is the thing, right? I mean, it's not new, what I mean to say in this slide. So definitely we are having a lot of new technologies, lot of new methods nowadays, but the concept of AI or artificial intelligence came in late 50s. So in Mask, right, I mean, what we have done at the beginning, right? So it is now 18 years old. We actually founded in 2003 when I started my AI journey at Indian Statistical Institute, and as a researcher there. And my first project was on neural network. And in 2003, definitely I couldn't get a chance to use Python. So my entire program and the all the components of the project was written by me in C language, right, and on a Linux platform. And it was having around 2,500 lines of code, and it used to take almost 2 days, so 48 hours, to train a neural network model. And And if I have done something wrong, suppose I'm not satisfied with the confusion matrix or with the result, with the precision and recall, I have to again edit the code and then retrain, right? And it will actually take another 2 days. So it used to take like again 48 hours. So that's the thing, right? I mean, but nowadays, like the advantage is, number one, we have got like a lot of computational power, right? We have GPU, TPU, and so on. And we also got like a lot of resources for data. Even I collected primary data. I requested my friends and colleagues, like, can you please write some digits using your pen or pencil or like marker, different thickness, different colors, but please write and give it to me. So those are called like primary data collection. But now probably I can get like a lot of open source data from internet. Same way, I may also get like a lot of packages, the programming like libraries in Python or R, which where I don't have to actually write so many lines of code, right? So that those are the advantage of the I mean current scenario in 2021. I mean we have all these power. At the same time, what I felt like, I mean, the good part of that time, I actually went through what's happening inside, right? I went through the each and every detail of the iterations and then came up with the solution. So then we thought about like, let's build some of the systems which will have like natural language, then images, right? Audio, like speech and all, and also combining them together into like into edge. Even that time I was not aware of the edge computing. We used to call it like embedded systems or robotics in some sense. So we put all multiple of these kind of programs into such hardware. So and we focused on few features. So first of all, like they should I mean the system should learn, right? The as the information changes, it should not have like a constant kind of a decision, right? Suppose I have trained that model and then many things got changed, so and then it should not be acting as before. And it should be also engineered to feed on dynamic data in real time. That's very important. For an example, the business got disrupted hugely, right, in this COVID-19 era. So I cannot just use the same time series or focusing model which I built like suppose 2018, and that will not work now because there are a lot of different other factors and parameters which are driving in the business, right? So and then is like interactive, so it should also interact not only with the same I mean I know like the reinforcement learning and all these terms are there. At the same time, our projects also focus on interacting with different processors, different devices, services, and definitely the user input or interacting with people or human being, right? So that's very important as well, as a cognitive feature, what we used to call it. And another feature, we focused on the iterative and statefulness, right? Suppose I'm taking a decision whether should I switch on the AC, right? Right now, I'm just thinking. And because it's a lot of depression here in this Hyderabad due to the cyclone effect. Now, if I turn on the AC, because I'm feeling hot now, but after 5 minutes, I may again turn off the AC. Now, why the decision changes? Because the temperature now decreases and my body temperature is also now probably resisting that low temperature, and now feeling like, oh, I'm not comfortable in that the previous temperature, 18 degree or 16 degree. Probably I would love to have like 24, but on the AC when I just turned it on, and I put like 18 because that time my brain thought like I need that temperature. I didn't think about like 24 will be a comfortable temperature, but I'm now started feeling cold rather than feeling hot. So so for that, right, I mean this state is being changed, and it should be iterative based on that. So multiple different factors, so our decision is also not constant, right? And then remembering previous interactions. I think a lot of recent models, right? I mean, starting with the RNA and LSTM, and recently the transformer based learning and transfer based learning, those are all actually considering these. And I'm very happy like people are again focusing on neural network, which like again, I mean almost close to 18 19 years ago I started, but that was like very simple neural network. I just worked with just a one single, two hidden layers and the input and output layer. But nowadays we have like so many complex neural network with multiple iterations, and then storing the memory, and again multiple interactions are happening. So these are really great. I mean, and definitely we are also leveraging those things, and I would request all of you to experiment with this GPT-3, newly launched GPT-3, if you have got access. So we'll talk to that. So now if I see the fourth feature, what we are actually focusing on, the contextual. So that means like it depends on what we are talking about, right? So we cannot build a general AI system. If it is on healthcare, definitely the terminologies, the jargons will be based on that, right? Even the data types are also different, right? I mean, if I'm working on the financial domain versus a retail domain and a healthcare domain, so the data types are different, right? In healthcare, I may get like doctor's prescriptions, MRI report, CT scan, X-rays, right? Nurses notes, even handwritten prescriptions, especially in India, right? So even for human being, it is very difficult to read. Now, if we expect the computer will just read out, and believe me, a simple OCR or handwritten recognition will not work there, because if you give that prescription to a pharmacy guy, that person reads it within 2 or 3 seconds. But we take like non-medical person takes like, I mean, either we cannot read, or I mean, it's very difficult, right? No offense for doctors, but this is true. Now what happens here, right? I mean, how the pharmacy guy reads. So let's take the positive part, right? So they actually know the context. They know like what is the age of the patient, what is the gender of the patient, what happened, what are the symptoms. They will ask like, oh, you have fever. Then this C and the curly things can be some paracetamol name, either crocin or calpol. Now they will see who is the doctor. Achha, this doctor is actually associated with that brand, so that person has given calpol, not crocin. So many things have actually, so the context is there, and the pharmacy guy can take the decision, okay, this is crocin. Actually, he or she is not reading through CRO, because that's not written like that. It's probably a C you can read, and then a scribble, right? Now with that, right, I mean, even natural language, if we consider the word operation, the word operation in healthcare, definitely it's related to anatomy, but the same word operation can be used in mathematics for operations research, or any arithmetic operation. In computer science, it can be used IT operation, right? In military, it can be some war, right? Operation like Kargil. So then it's not like same what we are talking about. So it varies from domain to domain. And if we consider multiple sources, right, and create like a multimodal model, then it helps. And definitely if we focus on particular domain, like where we are actually trying to what kind of problems, right, and then those inputs and those multimodal information retrieval actually help to take better decision, right? The more information we get, definitely the accuracy of the system helps, because sometimes we focus on the data first and then focus on the algorithm and then try to marry them. It's not like that, right? First we have to understand the business or understand the research in more uber goal with respect to what we are trying to solve. Because I have worked in one project where the funny result came, like we finally came up with a like decision making system, which is actually suggesting like if someone is having more fatty food, the probability of getting high cholesterol. So everyone got like silent, and they said like, we know it. I mean, what you are saying, we were happy because our model is saying so much accurate result. But the thing is like, what is the use of it, right? This is common general knowledge. I don't need a neural network model to just prove it, right? So that's, I mean, few things we have to also consider, like what we are trying to solve. So to make it crispy, right, I'll focus on few projects now. I mean, for an example, this one, not too much time. So the right bottom table, if you have seen, Adam had 5 apples. He gave 3 to Eve. How many are left? Right. So this simple arithmetic problem statement for probably standard 2 or 3 in CBSE, right? And we need to do some small operation, and it requires again probably 2 to 3 microseconds for a human being to get the answer. So if you are okay, just type your answer in the chat box. So Adam had 5 apples. He gave 3 to Eve. How many are left? Okay, please type your answer quickly. Okay, then I will explain in NLP how it actually it is read. So Adam, right? I mean, it's a proper noun. Then had. So I'm using the Stanford standard classical natural language processing system. So then had is the past form of have, then 5 is a cardinal number, apples is a common noun in a plural form. So we are storing in our brain the cardinal number 5 and the object apples, right? And the subject as Adam. Then the second sentence is not so easy. So he gave 3 to Eve. That means who is he? So in our brain as a human being, I can think about this. He is Adam, but who said? No one, right? He can be Tom, but we are not considering Tom gave 3 to Eve. And 3 what? 3 apples. So both this he and only the THREE. So in our brain, this THREE, we are converting that into digit 3. We are assuming that 3 is nothing but 3 apples. We are also considering this he is Adam. So all these things, how a computer can solve. And the third sentence is the most ambiguous sentence. How many are left? So no one asked, if you have answered 2, then you have considered how many apples are left with Adam. You have not considered how many apples are left with Eve, how many apples are left with both of them, how many mangoes are left with Tom, because those are out of context. So all of us actually considered the context and the previous sentence and the previous to previous sentence as well. So this is like the contextual when I was trying to mention, right? Now you may think like, why Joy has invented this? First, but by the way, this particular thing is actually my first patent when I developed this, and this was this became a part of IBM Watson as well, and it gave me the first patent. But at the same time, we enhanced it for later on in master research, like how we can generalize for different other things, right? For example, the left side, right? If you see a 6.8 kg toboggan is kicked on a frozen pond, it acquires a speed of 1.9 meters per second. The coefficient of friction between the pond and the toboggan is 0.13. Determine the distance which the toboggan travels before coming to rest. Now, I'm not going to ask you the answer here. At the same time, the same platform can actually answer this question as well. Now, why it is difficult, why it is not easy compared to this Adam, Eve, and Apple problem? Because first of all, the toboggan, this particular word is non-familiar. We are not, it's not like Apple. Second, probably you forgot what is coefficient of friction. All of us are 95% of this crowd are from science background, but we forgot what is coefficient of friction, probably, right? Why? Because we don't do physics every day and we don't need it. So we forgot. And LSTM, right? Long short-term memory. So we don't have to memorize the formula of coefficient of friction. So that's another thing. And third is like too many calculations I have to do. It's not simple addition. Probably I have to multiply, do some powers and all. So, okay, so this is a hard problem for me. So now it's actually not hard problem. It's all about the language, understanding, just like toboggan is nothing but a proper, it's a common noun. That's it. It's a common noun in singular form. And then the other things can be just again used by NLP, and we can digest this. And the formula of all these things, be it momentum, acceleration, we can actually store it, right? We don't have to memorize for a computer. So this is definitely, we thought like it's a great program. I mean, now it can be leveraged for any other like domains, for an example, in finance domain and all. Then we found like it's not about only text. I mean, it is text plus sometimes images and structured or semi-structured images like charts. So a typical like this data interpretation problem, right? I mean, a question where you have like some text is there, then a table or a chart, and that table is not a RDBMS table. That is like some header on top, some header on left. Even I have seen some tables where the header is on the bottom or right side as well. And then multi-headers like small and all. So this is not so easy. It cannot be just queried through SQL or something like that. All right. And then this kind of chart, right? Suppose the number here is between 30 and 40. If I run an OCR system, definitely I can get this 0, 10, 20, 30, 40 in the y-axis. I can also get the 1996, 1997 from x-axis from OCR. But the height of the second rectangle, if it actually is in between 30 and 40, that means it is 35 or slightly above, so probably 36. Now that 36 is nowhere written. So I cannot read that 36 using only OCR or optical character recognition, right? But our human brain can read this as 36. Who has told that? So how to get that, right? So combining, again, domain knowledge with OCR and like pixel, like standard classical image processing, combining all these things together, we can retrieve. So not only machine learning, as I mentioned, like it can sometimes happen like it's a hybrid kind of a system to achieve such goals. Otherwise, it will be like, again, garbage in, garbage out, right? If we throw everything on deep learning, that I will show again. So this is another example, like solving Sudoku puzzle. Now, again, all these examples what I'm showing here in Musk research, we focus on the problem statement first, right? I mean, what we are trying to solve. Then the applications can be multiple. So this same problem which we used for Sudoku solving can be used for any other number detection. It can be number plate detection on a vehicle. It can be MICR detection on a check, and a lot of other calculations can be done apart from the Sudoku solving. But what we do here is mostly for fun as well as doing deep research, so that there is no project manager or no pressure on us. At the same time, we are solving with a lot of algorithms which are the latest one. So not only like the software part, we built like a lot of robots. So the left side is called Mastani, which is a speech command based, right, robot. It can actually start walking, rotate into left or right. We have shown this demo into multiple academia as well. And the right side is Softy, which is actually built in with collaboration with Microsoft Garage. So Musk Research and Microsoft Garage. Actually, you can see Mastani standing beside Softy as well in the behind. So, and both are actually like definitely speech technology is there, but Softy is one step ahead. It also has a camera, and it can actually detect objects, and not only object, like it can detect person and greets you and then interacts with you and then answers your questions, everything. So it's like a multimodal system, and it also has sensors like the ultrasonic sensors, the eyes. So if you just put like high five, it will greet you, right? Measuring the distance. It will not start talking if you don't come into some range of distance. Otherwise, it will think like you are not talking to her. So, and she will get offended and she will stop talking. That's actually a good security feature, so that like there should not be any hearing or something, right? Overhearing, right? I mean, because I heard like some incidents happened earlier, right? Some of these AI systems just got some recording and sent it to someone else's manager, and that discussion happened. Probably Alexa asked like, should I send this message? And probably in that discussion someone said yes, and that yes was not for Alexa, but Alexa thought like that yes is for her, and then she sent it. But the problem is, right, I mean, if we measure something else, right, if we measure like whether the eye contact is towards the robot, whether I am actually standing in front of the robot in some distance, like within 3 feet, right, but not more than that. So then all of these flaws can be easily resolved. So I already uploaded these videos on YouTube, so I'm not taking much time here to show the demo, but I will actually post the YouTube link here, and please go and subscribe, and then you can definitely see for more details. This is actually what about Must. The left side is, I'm not reading it out. So we are definitely dedicated for promoting the excellence, right? And we are trying to bridge the gap between industry and academia, as I mentioned, right? And the most exciting feature is the advanced, the research on the cutting edge technologies, right? And the right side, right, this is also true. But the funny thing is, like, if you see the font color and the font type is different. So this is not written by me. But we recently got like GPT-3 access for Musk Research, and the left side was the input, which is actually in our website, and the right side is the output of GPT-3 model. So think about that. So where are we now? We have entered into very sophisticated AI journey. So this is the right time. We have to leverage all the old classical technology and the latest algorithms, and then mix them up and try real world problems. So that's my suggestion. And so definitely thanks a lot. And I would love to connect with all of you. If you're interested, just follow me and or send connection request on LinkedIn. And this is a YouTube link also. I'll just post it in the chat box, and I'm open for any questions. Yep.
Hey, thanks, Joy. Folks, anyone who has any questions, either you can ask directly live, or you can just paste it into chat here and one of us can take it.
Yeah, so while the time permits, we can have those questions. Otherwise, we can take it offline. I don't mind.
So does anyone have a question? All right. Sure. Somewhat expected question. What
Hello.
should be the steps for an upcoming data scientist? This is Aman Patkar. And then Naveen, you've got a question. What is that? All right. So Joy, I think this is one of the most frequent questions that we get in such forums, right? How do people start and where do they go from there? So folks, we'll answer this once and we'll probably get more answers to this in different flavors in the panel discussion. So we'll let Joy hold forth on this, but do ask some interesting questions about Joy's work and if you want paths to research, right?
Yeah.
All right, Joy, go ahead.
Yeah, so the first question, yeah, definitely that's very important and common question as well. But yeah, I would love to answer. What should be the steps for upcoming data scientists, right? So upcoming data scientist, right? The word scientist is very heavy. And I believe unless and until we prove ourselves with respect to the innovation, right? Especially when we try to craft new algo, right? Be it publications, patents, or even the projects what we are doing. That's very important, right? The continuous experimentation is very important, and also try to know the background of all the algos, be it mathematics, statistics, right? Go deeper and do not avoid programming, right? So sometimes what I have seen, like, I mean, some data scientists, they avoid like, oh, I'm not an engineer, I'm a data scientist, right? So no, probably in data scientist, we have to wear different hats, definitely the researcher, engineer, scholar, and sometimes teacher. So once you teach or explain, even if it is your, I mean, classmate or junior, right, that will actually help a lot of doubts in you. What is the provision for internship for a PhD student in Must? Yeah, so definitely we do a lot of internships. You can join as a student member, and if you search Must Research in Google, I'm not sure, I'm just getting the chat only from Sudhanshu. Is it going to everyone? Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, okay. So I will post the Must Research link, and there is a community called Must Research Club, right? And where you can actually become student member if you are doing PhD or if you're studying any of the course, and we do internship. Okay, next question. Okay, what is that is done? So do you have openings for internships? Yeah, that I already answered this. So what are all upcoming research things in deep learning, like capsule neural? Yeah, so there are, I mean, we cannot comment on what are coming, but what actually have come, right? Definitely let's try to leverage, as I mentioned, try to apply for GPT-3 access. It's not open for all now, although they call it OpenAI, but it's based on request. So try to get those, or even if you get like GPT-2, right? Try your hands dirty and then wait for the next one. Just don't go for any jargon. As I mentioned, like start with simple neural network or logistic regression, right? Even if you see, like, I mean, the neural network is, I mean, the latest, suppose transformer based, right? Or RNN, recurrent neural network. Inside there, it's a single small neural network is there. Inside a neural network, if I go deeper into the activation function, it's a logistic regression, if I consider that as one of the activation function. And then inside logistic regression, it's actually a linear regression, which is in a sigmoid way, right? So finally, we are putting a sigmoid function on a linear regression. So if you don't know what is linear regression, don't jump into the deep learning. So I would suggest, like, start from there and then try to understand what's happening, and don't use anything as a black box. I would love to have, like, I mean, please understand what's there deeply. How can we use NLP in improving the issue of security with AI systems? Is there scope of in this regard? NLP improving issues of security. So definitely one thing is can be like fake news, right? Which is in my opinion, that is one of the major concern right now having. Even I have seen in recent past regarding corona, right? I mean, people are saying like, don't go get vaccinated, you will die within 2 months. So this is a fake news, but it comes in a lot of social media, including some of my WhatsApp group and some of my known friends. They forwarded this message. But how we can build such system which should get like authenticated by different other organizations and so on, right? To determine the fake news identification, spam and all. So these can be definitely good examples. And how to look for real life problems that can be solved. Yeah, we are using AI in real life. I mean, believe me, your virtual background on Zoom is nothing but AI, right? It's actually identifies your face and then puts the rest of the face, like the rest of the background, as either transparent or putting some image and all, right? So those are all AI. Even your face unlock, your fingerprint unlock, all these are like applications of computer vision. And your hey Siri is nothing but or hello okay Google, right? These are all applications of AI, right? We are using speech technologies. So we are using, and now life problems in part, right? So we have to define more specifically, but definitely in healthcare, agriculture, as I mentioned, education. So we are solving in must research mostly which are close to the society, but at the same time we are interested in driverless car as well. Why not? And if we consider the chaotic situation in Indian traffic, but that should be also considered, right? I mean, that would be multimodal inputs, right? Think about a car we launch in Bangalore traffic, auto driving car. Someone said like it's good, right? It's safe because it will not move because of Bangalore traffic. So anyway, jokes apart, but yeah, it is possible. Okay, what is future of Bayesian deep learning? Again, I don't want to comment on future, but yeah, Bayesian, again, starting with the conditional probability, we learned that, right? And that's like, again, if it happened, what is the probability to have the other event happen, right? Probability of A given B. So that's the initial thought process behind it, right? And whatever we are deciding is, again, like based on those inputs and outputs, and again, with respect to the recurrence and sometimes the transformation of all those things, right? So definitely it's the future. It's the past as well, not only future. Future of GANs, again, generative adversarial network. So we can generate, even if you see MAST website, I probably put like the link, right? If you see the MAST website, all the pencil sketches are actually generated by GAN algorithm. And those are all generated pencil sketches automatically based on different other pencil sketches which are being used for the training data. You think the industry needs to do a better job in having clarity in description of job roles? AI, ML, data scientist, deep learning is often mixed up. Yeah, this is true. This is very true. Those are all mixed up. At the same time, people are actually expecting a lot of these things from a data scientist, which is true. I mean, like we cannot say like, okay, I know only machine learning but not AI. So Uber goal of AI, as I mentioned, like AI and machine learning subset of AI. So it's not like I don't know machine learning, but I know AI. That cannot be said, right? And non-ML AI era was there earlier, right? As I mentioned, IBM Deep Blue. It's a very complex rule-based system. It's not machine learning at all, but it considered all possible chess moves, right? Which is not so easy as well. It's not just a simple if then else. It's definitely a great algo. At the same time, it's not machine learning. And data scientist word is, as I mentioned, so the scientist word is heavy, and deep learning is again subset of machine learning, right? Where we are skipping the feature engineering part and we are leaving it with the program itself. But again, deep learning is good, at the same time risky. If we don't have a clean data, a relevant set of data, it will be just a gigo, right? Garbage in, garbage out. And I have seen, like, I mean, some of the guys have just experimented with a logo classification. They came up with Samsung and Lenovo, two types of logos, and third class was like none of these. So three class classification, and it collected like a lot of web image search results of Samsung and Lenovo. And he claimed like he actually got 97% accuracy with CNN model, convolution neural network. And then I tried out with one cropped logo of Apple. So it should go to the, one cropped logo of Samsung, and it went to none of these. Then again, I tried with one cropped logo of Lenovo, and it went to none of these. It was classified as none of these. Then I asked, like, what happened? Why it is not classifying it as Samsung or Lenovo? It should, right? He said like, I don't know, but I'm getting with my training, with my inference set of data. Then I found what he collected, the data set itself, 75% of Samsung were like phones, and 75% of the Lenovo products were actually laptops. So what happened that CNN model actually learned in a way, and those classifier became mobile versus laptop classification. It is not related at all with the logo. Now, if you take a photograph of an iPhone, it will say Samsung. If you take a photograph of a MacBook, it will say Lenovo. Why? Because the labels are just different, but finally it got classified with that.
Joy, why don't we pause the questions for a little bit? What we'll do is we'll get to the panel, finish that, and maybe a larger number of people can actually address these questions.
Like a lot of questions, we can definitely take it offline. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so we don't have to necessarily take all of them offline, guys. What we'll do is we'll sort of do the panel discussion which follows, and then perhaps the panel can address some of this collectively along with Joy. All right. So thanks, Joy. That was most interesting, and the big outcome of here, one of the ones would be that a bunch of people probably come work with you, so that'd be fun. With that, we move to the next part of the event and invite 3 exciting panelists to our discussion. Let me quickly introduce them. We have Vivek Fuloria. He is an IIT BHU undergrad and then went on to study at MDI in Gurgaon. He's a richly experienced data scientist, worked at Axtria, JP Morgan Chase, and currently works for Capgemini in Bent. Welcome, Vivek.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Nisar Dave joins us from Philadelphia in the US. He works as a lead data scientist for Group K Diagnostics. He's got varied experiences in the field of computer science and has expertise in machine learning, computer intelligence, deep learning, and computer vision. He has done a master's at Michigan Tech and has also worked on DARPA's explainable AI research to improve explainability in AI algorithms. Welcome, Nisar.
Thank you very much, Siddharth.
We also have Mr. Dipanjan Sarkar. He is a data science lead, published author, and consultant. He's been recognized as a Google developer expert in machine learning by Google in 2019. Dipanjan has led advanced analytics initiatives working with several Fortune 500 companies like Applied Materials, Intel, and open source organizations like Red Hat, which is now a part of IBM. He primarily works in leveraging data science, machine learning, and deep learning to build large-scale intelligent systems. He's been recognized as one of the top 10 data scientists in India in 2020 and 40 under 40 data scientists this year in 2021. Welcome, Dipanjan.
Hi, Siddharth. Thank you so much for having me here. Yeah.
So one of the reasons for having all of you here is to kind of provide a personal perspective to your collective data science journeys, right? I think a lot of people are curious about how-tos, how to start, how to get to the next step, what should I do next, what's upcoming research. And as someone who's kind of been in the field of educating people, I see these questions again and again repeatedly, right? And I think the answers to these, in my opinion, are not necessarily particularly useful when answered directly, simply because you get the same answers over and over again. You could just do a Google search or go to Quora and find these answers. So I think the greatest value of having people who have been data scientists, especially early stage data scientists, which is a path, a career path that that younger folks, like most of the audience here, can expect to replicate. The greatest value of having such people around is actually to derive insights from their own personal experiences, watch and listen to what they are doing, and derive inspiration. So that's kind of the spirit of today's conversation. And with that, I'd like to go around the table, just asking people that in their journeys, what do they think is the most exciting thing that has happened? Is it working on a problem? Is it getting excited by the potential of data science? Is it future opportunities that they think they have access to? Or is it the ability to make large-scale technological impact to society or anything else, right? So let's quickly go around the table and ask about the greatest inspiration that the pursuit of this field has given people. All right. So why don't we start with the last panelist I introduced, Mr. Sarkar. Hey, Dipanjan.
Hey, Siddharth. Yeah, I think definitely good question. I'll just take a couple of perspectives. So I think when I was starting out as a data scientist or as a junior data scientist, what was really inspiring for me was the potential of data science, right? I mean, earlier we used to have traditional programming where we used to code like huge programs with so many lines of code just to solve a simple problem. But now with the power of data, the idea is your code gets smaller, but your problem, like the impact becomes bigger. So in that way, by just writing a few lines of code, I mean, you can just build a classification model, which can be plugged into the enterprise. And I mean, you can do great things really. So initially solving end-to-end problems was something which was pretty interesting for me, pretty inspiring for me. But later on, as I grew into my role, what became more and more inspiring for me was the ability to lead and basically educate other people, educate my team members to basically solve the same problems, right? And showing them the ropes and basically making sure that they are able to solve these problems and not face the same roadblocks and hurdles which I faced. That is basically right now one of my biggest passions. So yeah, I would say nowadays it's not just about solving problems for me, but enabling others to solve those problems.
No, thank you, Dipanjan. I think that's amazing. And I think that is a natural progression of the journey of people who are on your path, that as we get more experienced, I think one of the most rewarding things we can do is make life easier for those who want to follow the path later. So, Nisarg, what about you? What do you find most exciting about what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'll first introduce that I did my first hands-on with the AI at back in my Ahmedabad days at IIM Ahmedabad, one of the several of the incubated startups at IIM Ahmedabad, and we were trying to kind of make an impact in terms of predicting the better business strategies using the previous data that we had. So that was my first stint, and that is really very exciting to see, like how businesses can drive the rise in the revenue, let's say, or whatever the fruitful purpose they are like striving for. So we can use the insights from the data to decide upon which strategy might be good enough for our future things or products maybe. And after that, in United States, when I was working as a DARPA's explainable AI researcher, the huge impact I was making is like by designing the artificial intelligence algorithm that can explain themselves. So you can see the deep neural networks are not at all explainable. You don't know how they predicted something. It's completely black box. You can't decode, you can't diagnose them easily. And given in the defense sector and healthcare sector, you have to know how the predictions are happening. So basically using the power of computational intelligence and fuzzy math theories, we can weight their particular prediction. We can particularly traverse through the their node visitation and stuff, and then kind of explain themselves and then reach to the mass in terms of healthcare industry and defense sector, so that we can make the fruitful applications out of that. So that was the major excitement or challenges I would quote is in my AI journey.
That's amazing. And Vivek, what about you?
Yeah, so for me, it will be so one thing that really has excited me is the potential of AI basically. So moving from rule-based system that we typically have for most applications to an ML-based approach. So one of the projects that I worked on was a resume matching system, a resume parser of sorts, wherein like usually we have keyword matching approaches that are there that are being used by most companies. But what really excited me was that AI, the artificial intelligence model was able to understand the resume. So for example, if we have two job descriptions that are very close by, or the two applicants which are a very close set of skill sets. So for example, a data scientist versus a data engineer. So the tools they'll be using will be more or less similar and overlapping. And our typical rule-based system wouldn't be able to segregate between those. But an NLP-based system which can understand the context of what the person has written will be able to do that. So this was something that was really exciting for me. And yeah. And another thing that I realized was that especially in the B school, what I saw is that AI is a very misunderstood and a very misused and abused, actually, I'd say, term that people, especially in the who are in non-technical folks, they do not understand how the thing works and what is. So usually the way popular media demonstrates AI is that it can do anything, and not what goes into it and how the things are being done. Or so what I tried to do, and what I seek to continue doing is to sort of educate people on the people who are not as technical and just the intuition behind the AI, or what is actually happening and what is basically required, not the technical, not like how businesses can leverage AI. So that is something that I try to write about. That is something that I try to blog about. And yeah, so these are a few things that excite me about AI.
Terrific. So Joy, instead of asking this question to you, because we kind of have had a small snapshot of your life, ask you something different, right? And that is, what is there something called the right aptitude for a data scientist? So should people do data science and AI in particular because it is fun and exciting and new and obviously has very strong indicators for a bright career? Or should one do it because there are intrinsics to oneself that make you particularly suitable to doing this and achieving great results?
Yeah. Yes, I think the passion is very important, one of the factors, right? So whether I love to do it, right, and I'm doing it properly with respect to understanding the concepts and then trying to apply. It should not be like it's just like, okay, there is a demand in the market and let us learn, right? So if I don't love math, if I don't love stat, if I don't love programming, just going through some Python packages and libraries and becoming data scientist will not help in the career. Probably they can crack the interviews, join, and after that face a lot of problems. So I would, recommend to go through the concepts and then check like whether I'm loving this and all. So that's very important.
So before moving on to the other panelists, let me actually ask you another question, right? And I want everyone else to answer this. That did you yourself sort of slowly drift into this area with your background in maths and statistics, which is appropriate to the field? Or did you stumble upon it, or did you make a series of decisive choices to get where you got?
So when I started my journey, right, I did my graduation in statistics and post-graduation in computer science. Mm-hmm. Then I loved that, like, okay, there is this kind of topics which I learned in several journals and all. Like this is actually, it's a blend of statistics and computer science. And then I selected this subject like machine learning in my master's thesis. And I did it again at Indian Statistical Institute. The thing is, like that time, even I didn't know, even my friends and colleagues, they actually discouraged me. Joy, why are you doing AI? This is obsolete, right? Those are some of the programming languages, Prolog, Lisp and Prolog, those are obsolete. So why don't you learn Java? Why don't you learn SQL and become a successful engineer? But it is all about my passion. I love that topic, and then I continued with that research. So from early 2000 till now, last 21 years, I'm into that, because definitely with the statistics background, that helped me. And then again, computer science, the basic computer science and computer engineering, that also helped me. And then blending these two topics, right? And that's actually the concept of data science and AI.
What about you, Nisar? What's your path to this field?
Alrighty. So yeah, I started learning AI and machine learning basically, or diving into basics of machine learning in the third year of my bachelor's. So I was very regular in attending meetups at business summits back in Ahmedabad, and I learned about like industry deviating towards AI. So I took up I'm more of a self learner, so I took up some courses online and started deep diving into basics of machine learning, basics of mathematics, statistics that's required for that. And given I had computer science background, so back in those university days, I even took up like a research project with my fellow professor in the field of something called differential privacy in machine learning. So what that does is that makes the AI algorithm more private, so that that's beneficial into financial technological industry, healthcare industry to make the user's data anonymized. So that way I slightly deviated into that, and my interests were very keenly aligned with that, and I was really very much into it by the end of my bachelor's. And then I decided to pursue my career further and advance my knowledge in field of deep learning and artificial intelligence and even computer vision in general. So I came up into Michigan Tech, learned about basically data science courses, not only data science, basically very broad and view like high performance computing that even utilizes data science and machine learning domain, and even computational intelligence that utilizes hardcore mathematical aspects, let's say fuzzy theory, optimization theory, and also nature based intelligence algorithm, let's say particle swarm optimization, genetic algorithms, and all that stuff. So that way, I slightly deviated into healthcare and defense sector because of that particular, privacy concepts, cybersecurity concepts, and even high performance computing concepts. So yeah, that was my basic, pathway to get into that. And one major thing I would highlight here is I have never aligned myself in using libraries and packages in starting because that doesn't provide any learning curve to you. So when you implement something in a core language, let's say C++ or C, then you learn a lot because you kind of know each step how the algorithm works. So that's what I will highlight here if someone is very interested in learning it deeply and very thoroughly. So yeah, try to implement each and every algorithm or mechanism that you implement in C or C++ or any very basic manner, very drastic manner, or like starting from scratch, zeroth step to the end step, and then you will realize how this algorithm actually works and how you can make them better or how you can optimize them better. So yeah.
All right. Vivek, I'll ask you a slightly different question. I think one of the problems, especially in India, we see is that the promise doesn't live up to its realization, right? So you see newspaper reports about, oh, there are thousands of unfilled jobs. And I wonder where those thousands of unfilled jobs are, because you sure don't find the listings, right? And yet every time you see a NASCOM report or a Mint report, so who are they talking about, right? That's one, right? Where are these thousands of jobs? And the second question is that the audience here is clearly interested in the upper echelons of machine learning, right? So actually building models and solving problems, and not the bottom end of it, which is more around sort of manipulation of data to derive insights, which is a slightly bigger field in terms of availability of opportunities. So I'm sure everybody's very interested in this question as much as I am. So where's the cat?
Yeah. So one thing that I've realized is that you'd find a lot of people who say they are into data science and they are data enthusiasts and everything. But when you actually interview them or when you actually talk to them, they do not know the basics. So as Nisar mentioned and Joy also mentioned that people should start from the basics, write things from scratch, right? So I've taken interviews of so many people, especially freshers who've created some cool GAN or computer vision application probably using out of the box models, but they do not have any clue about how a linear regression would work, for example, or how a logistic regression would work. So basic models, they are not very comfortable with. So when I say that there is a huge demand supply mismatch, there are a lot of jobs that are there, but like even for our company, I have personally taken interviews of so many people and we do not find good talent. So that is one thing that I think other people would also agree, that it is difficult to find the people who actually know their stuff. Yeah, so that is one thing, and this would be reflected in the fact in the salaries that data scientists would command, especially in tech hubs like Bangalore. The kind of average salaries that are there would sort of demonstrate the demand supply mismatch that I mentioned. So that is one thing. The other question.
Let me actually interrupt you a little bit. I want to dig slightly deeper into this, right? So let's look at demand supply mismatch in the United States. Yeah, a really talented machine learning engineer will make $500,000 a year, straight out of college, right? Like especially one with a PhD. Yeah, so there you can actually tell that there's a serious mismatch. Clearly, that's not the case around here, right? I mean, even if you adjust for purchasing power parity, the average data scientist does not earn $1 crore here.
Yeah.
So explain that.
Yeah. So one thing is something that was mentioned in the Q&A as well, that the term data scientist is being thrown around very loosely. So there would be jobs which, as you mentioned, would just involve manipulation of data, a data engineer or a data analyst sort of a role, which would be classified as a data scientist just to make it more alluring to the prospective employee. So that is why it is very difficult to compare salaries, because the comparison is not apples to apples. That is one thing. But yeah, and obviously the salaries would not be 1 crore. That's true. But still, if you compare salaries with the profession. So I have friends in a lot of the MBA sort of jobs that are there. For example, sales, finance, etc., investment, etc. And I have friends in data science as well. So the really talented people, they are I don't think I should be quoting exact numbers, but they are with similar experience levels. The people in data science are drawing 40 to 50% more than my friends at probably IB or sales would be making. So that's just something that I think there is.
That's fair. So question for you, Dipanjan, slightly different, right? And Vivek referred to this deficit, the demand supply mismatch. So interestingly, in this hackathon that we just conducted, right? We had 800 participants with combined submissions of many times that, and I think we estimated the total amount of collective hours put in by this group was like 10,000 hours or so. Okay, on a fairly simple problem, but even simple problems need some level of accomplishment, right? So I'd say that on our hands is some demonstrable evidence of at least great promise, if not demonstrated ability, right? Which will become demonstrated ability. So looks like tons and tons of people are interested enough to get to the problem solving level. Now, I think to your point, Vivek, that one of the issues might just be that the step from deploying libraries onto data sets is slightly different than being a serious data scientist. So that may be one of the problems we're dealing with. But Dipanjan, sort of since you have vast expansive experience and exposure to, I imagine, both people and fields, what are your thoughts on basic deficits in learning, even among people from prestigious institutions?
I think one of the biggest challenges I see, and it's not just in India, because I've worked with people across the globe, the biggest challenge is sometimes people get confused or get lost along the way as to why they want to become a data scientist. As we discussed, passion is very important. Context is very important. When you are wanting to become a data scientist, it's not just about the tools. It's not just about the technology. If you give any person who has general cognitive abilities, if you give them a month with tools, if you give them a month with basic math, statistics, you teach them, they'll be able to pick it up because we are humans, right? We learn on the go. But the thing is, if you don't have the passion to solve real world problems, if you don't have the ability or the analytical mindset to be able to quickly gauge open-ended problems and solve them, you're going to face a tough time. And this is what I've seen where people go through, let's say, even a 2 year course, they will mechanically learn the things, but you give them a problem, they are not able to contextualize it. They are not able to figure out how to solve it because in the industry, no one is going to tell you, this is a data set, solve a classification problem for me. It'll be a very vague problem, right? Or the problem itself will be very vague. You have to have multiple discussions with the business folks. You have to have multiple discussions with the domain experts to be able to crystallize the problem, reach to a certain success criteria, and then go for the project. Because otherwise, I mean, we keep hearing 85% of data science projects fail. I mean, that's one of the main reasons because you don't even know along the way that what are you aiming for. So that is where I think one of the biggest gaps is that it's not just about the technical skills, it's about having the right soft skills. It's able to understand the problems themselves, and it's able to have a basic passion to solve these problems. I think that's one thing. The other thing I would also want to highlight is that there are, I think, a lot of talented folks, especially in India, but for some reason, they don't seem to have the same level of confidence always as, let's say, our counterparts in the West or even in Europe and so on. And this is what I think that people need to speak up more. And again, I'm not trying to generalize in general, but at least for many people, which I've seen, they have the knowledge, they have the talent, but for some reason, they don't feel confident. I would say we need to speak up more. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about what we are doing, show these projects, build a portfolio. And that is what is going to help us put ourselves out there and get those jobs, which ultimately, let's say, we deserve.
So follow on question from there, right? And it's a bit of a catch-22 that the kind of learning infrastructure that is normally available to somebody who's starting out, unfortunately, only helps them get so far. And that so far is perhaps picking up the basics, working on standard problems that are there out on the internet, and to be able to sort of get exposure to business problems, to craft them into what do you call it, a precisely defined thing that you can solve using some of the techniques that you've learned, and then and do this without even being inside an organization. Let's say somebody who's a learner, that how do they demonstrate that they have these skills? First, how do they pick up these skills? And then how do they demonstrate it? I think it needs a certain kind of environment, right? That environment might be like an appetite for companies to put out large numbers of internships where people come and learn within an environment that allows them to pick up those skills. Or perhaps sort of collectives like ours, like Univ.AI is one, where people get these opportunities, but these opportunities are not widespread, right? So you're constantly caught in this catch-22, where you to get to the point of maturity where you are a great data scientist requires you to have something that is not available unless you actually have that job, right? So
absolutely, yeah,
right. So how do you cross this kind of barrier?
Yes. So again, two things here. One is, yes, if you have platforms like Univ.AI or let's say any kind of offering which is enabling you to get a dedicated support, get a dedicated ecosystem, then definitely your learning and your skill set will be much more mature in a faster time. But let's take the context of this business problem aspect, right? Like, okay, if you're not actually working in the industry, how do you build yourself up to it? There are a few ways now. See, a few years back, we didn't have all of this on the internet. I think now there are a wide variety of resources available. The best way to go about it is one, the closest you can get to real world data sets is open data set platforms. You have Kaggle, you have many other Google dataset search and so on. A lot of companies themselves are uploading their own data. Maybe they anonymize some of the customer sensitive aspects, but you have very close to real world problem data sets available. That's one thing. You can pick up some of these data sets, do a project on this, but how do you bring the business context to it? Try to draw an analogy in terms of what companies are actually solving. Now we have all these engineering and technology blogs from companies like Uber, Netflix, Stitch Fix, so many other companies are out there. Read those problems, build that domain knowledge. And then let's say I just did a simple recommendation system on IMDb movies. You can then draw an analogy and learn what Netflix has done. And then in the future, if you're interviewing, you can talk in that context. And that will show the employer that you are not just someone who picks a random data set and applies an SVD and does a matrix factorization and does a recommendation system. You know what is the state of the art, you know what Netflix has done, you know the limitations, the challenges, the advantages. So I think in that way, when you are doing a self-learning journey, these are some of the things you can do where you can build your portfolio by picking up data sets which have a real world significance. You don't just pick a data set or a project just because it is cool. And you try to look at what other companies have done in the same problem space to get that additional contextual knowledge. And that can definitely help you versus just randomly picking up a data set and applying algorithms one after the other.
So let me follow up from there, and we're running out of time. So I think we'll have to wrap up soon and move to the core part of the ceremony, which is to give out awards. But before I do that, let me ask one or two more questions. Joy, this is for you. That self-learning has a huge hurdle, right? And it's not just one of being a self-starter or self-motivated. I think this is one of the questions that I think Nisarg was asking me before we got into the forum. This was in our private conversation. That what are we doing to build a community, right? And I think time after time in the last year and a half that I've talked to accomplished people, they've said again and again two things, right? Great mentors and colleagues to work with is the surest way to learn, because you can't learn by yourself, right? And that's true not just of data science. With very few exceptions, most people learn with others. They don't sit in front of a computer or take a book and learn. That's not learning, right? So how does one solve this problem?
Yeah, so definitely it's true. I mean, and that's why we have the schools and colleges and all, right? Not only the bookstores or libraries. So we need mentors. We definitely, once we collaborate with others, share our thoughts, ideas, and brainstorm with each other, that's one. Second part is also the practical part. Like what I have seen recently, like a lot of these online tutorials, which are, and we think like, okay, if someone just gets into those online tutorials without mentors, right, they will learn. But just think about like when we learn swimming or cycling, right, forget about data science. We can't learn swimming just having a YouTube video, right, how to swim, or apply too much of theory like, okay, this is viscosity, this is Archimedes principles, this is Newton's law for force and all, and then by this angle I have to move my hand to swim. No, but we need practicals, right? And we have to have our hands dirty. So two things are important. One definitely is the mentor, so that we are going into the right direction. We have to get those directions properly from our teachers and mentors. And second is practical is also very important, not like something which we are just reading the theories or concepts, but we don't know how to apply it.
So let me ask one last question, just because the idea comes to me, right? So clearly we have Univ.AI, we have a system where you work progressively. You join like at a formal university. We've got world-class learning infrastructure, and by the time you get out of the system, you're as good as anyone else anywhere, right? But clearly not everyone can either do that, or not everyone wants to do that. So let's take a forum like this, which has been created as a public forum for learning, right? So one thing we can, of course, do is, take the collective expertise of all of you and create problem sets, either from public data sets or others, for people to work on. But as we just visited, the idea that we just visited, that it's not enough to have rudimentary experiences and ideas of how to apply algorithms to these data sets, and by trial and error get to an answer, right? It needs a lot more than that. So for example, is it possible, just a curiosity question, for one of you to, for example, host large-scale workshops, let's say with an audience as large as the number of participants, a couple of hundred, and actually take them through what they need to do or what it takes to be able to attempt one of these problem sets? Is that useful? In other words, how does one intervene in learning journeys so that people can, if not have formal learning experiences, at least have periodic interventions in forums such as these so that their learning experience is enhanced?
If it is interactive with small groups or small chunks, then it is useful. But if we invite in one workshop multiple folks and then they are silent and only us are talking, right? So then I don't think that would be very helpful. That is my but others.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go two ways. One is if it's a workshop, ideally, it should be not more than 50 people. I would say 30 people, because then you can have a very interactive session, and then you can basically talk about, okay, this is the tougher part of data science, which is not there in any book or course, right? And this is what you need to know. You get their feedback. Or the other could be like a large scale seminar where you can invite larger number of people, but the interaction level may not be that much, but you can still try and get your message across by walking them through a problem, including both the business aspects and, let's say, the technical aspects. So that's what comes to my mind.
So I think maybe the middle ground might be to run like a tutorial, in the sense that take a program, break it up, maybe have 10, 15 people who are like teaching assistants, something that we do in our system as well. But in a much more constrained setting, one can run through a problem so that people have help and yet are able to participate in large numbers, right? By having facilitators. Maybe that can work.
Yeah, definitely. We have seen that being applied in many companies also, like train the trainer kind of a scenario. So yeah.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that now that we have, potentially thousands of people participating in these early stage hackathons that we are hosting, that the next thing that we can do is actually create learning interventions, not just problem solving interventions, right? So I'm wondering what might be interesting ways of doing that. But thank you, everyone. Very fun to hear this. So now what we'll do is move to the second last thing but the most important thing in today's session, which is to hand out awards and recognitions to the winners of the first Geoffrey Hinton Fellowship Hackathon hosted by Univ.AI. So here's how we'll do it. Hold on, let me get my system together. So I'll get my list and start reading out the winners. Last first, as in 10th rank first, and we'll go to the winner at the end. And what we'd want you to do is, if you're here online, sort of please turn on your camera. In fact, I'd request everybody to turn on their cameras. And then we'll wait a few seconds for you to acknowledge your presence. And if you have a few words to add, please do that. And the next 10 or so minutes, we'll go through this exercise. So hang in there for a second. And then after this, we can have a bit more of a Q&A if people have questions for our speakers, which I'm sure you do. So hold on. All right, so number 10, there are no drum rolls here, unfortunately, but number 10 is Karthik Pandey. Karthik, are you here?
Yes, sir.
All right, so if you all switch on the speaker view, on your Zoom meeting, you will be able to spot the right man or woman in this sea of faces. So congratulations, Karthik. Where are you from?
I'm from Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh.
Okay. And which college are you studying at? Yeah. So rather, why don't I let you introduce yourself?
My name is Karthik Pandya. I'm a second year student at Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala. And my branch is computer engineering. And my interest is majorly in the field of artificial intelligence, machine learning.
How long have you been learning?
Since before my bachelor's.
Okay, so it's been a while.
Before. Yes.
So congratulations. Thank you for participating. Please do continue to participate in future hackathons. As you know, the system is designed for people to become serial participants, and we have great and exciting things lined up for people who continue to stay in the system.
Yes, sir.
A little round of applause, although it's virtual, so it's a clap for you. Congratulations, Karthik, and thank you very much.
Thanks.
Next is somebody from our community, exceptional person because I know him personally. It's Vishnu. Vishnu is currently a student at Univ.AI. Hi, Vishnu.
Hey, Siddharth. Yeah,
so why don't you introduce yourself for a little bit, and especially your AI journey?
Yeah. So, hello everyone present here. My name is Vishnu M, and I am a third year BTech undergrad student at JCRC University, Jaipur. And I also have been a part of Univ.AI and have been taking my AI training under some amazing professors. So first of all, I would like to congratulate my fellow participants for their hard work and for bringing up such a wonderful and healthy competition. So basically, this was my first participation as an individual for any hackathon. So I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw my name on the leaderboard. So it makes me really happy to be one of the top rankers in the GHF. So it was indeed a informative and competitive experience. So yeah, basically I started my AI journey from my second year of college.
And which year are you in right now?
I'm at the end of my third year. So
okay.
Yeah.
So you actually started before you joined us?
Yes, basically like end of second year. So I joined UNEV at like starting of the third year. So
okay. So I think I'm curious if you're able to learn by yourself, why did you join a structured program like ours?
Maybe because of the first thing that I thought was, so it was the professors that attracted me to, join this course. So later on, like I found out there are some very underrated things that you guys don't market, but it is there. So for example, the thing that, okay, so for example, I was an introvert before joining this course. So this is just a random example. So after joining this course, like being into a environment where you have to talk to strangers. So that actually put me in a place, where I'm out of my comfort zone. So that actually helped me to overcome that introvertness as well.
So that's very interesting, Vishnu, because Deepanjan was talking exactly about that. I mean, precisely that. So it's interesting to hear that. So congratulations, Vishnu. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Next on is Anurag Reddy Kotla. Anurag, are you here?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Congratulations, Anurag. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your learning journey?
Yes, sir. So I'm from Vienna VJIT, and my branch is Electronics and Communication Engineering. I started my journey with one of my projects which involved data science analytics. And then slowly I started exploring the field and seeing machine learning. And also this competition has not only helped me to believe in myself, but also understand and realize the interest towards the field. I hope many of the participants also felt it the same.
Amazing. Thank you. And congratulations again, Anurag.
Thank you, sir.
Number 7 is Gautam B. Gautam, are you here?
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
Gautam,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Gautam. Do let us know a little bit about yourself as well as your learning journey.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. It was a wonderful experience. And so I am Gautam. So I am studying BTech at VIT AC campus, and currently I'm a third year student. And I've been learning AI for the past 2 years. So I read a few books when I was at school about AI and the progress it is going to make and the future we would have with AI. And that inspired me to actually study more about it and, to learn more and become a good data scientist and a machine learning engineer.
Thank you very much, Gautam. And congratulations again. Please do participate in the upcoming hackathons. Like I said, we want to make this a system where we create a community for learners and hopefully be able to realize or help realize some of the promises of machine learning and AI for everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Joy, you're leaving. Thank you very much for joining us. It was wonderful to have you, and hopefully we'll get to talk more.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Siddharth. And yeah, sorry, actually I have to join another meeting. So yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Joy. Thanks very much.
With LinkedIn. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay, next up is number 6, Rishabh Jain. Rishabh, are you there?
Hi, Siddharth. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Rishabh. Do tell us a little bit about yourself and also your learning journey.
So I'm a first-year MSc student in Operation Research at IIT Bombay. And my interest in machine learning started when I'm also an actuarial student. So my interest lies in the application of machine learning and deep learning in the areas of finance and quant finance. I started my machine learning journey 1 year back when I get into IIT. And so this was about me. I'm from Jaipur.
Thank you very much. And I've not asked everyone else, but since you mentioned actuarial sciences, what do you want to do next?
So I'm really confused right now because my interest lies in statistics more towards. So I'm really interested in stochastic calculus. So I'm planning a PhD in statistics.
Okay.
But I like machine learning and application in finance.
Well, luckily for you, I think you don't have to choose between one and the other, right? That you can keep machine learning very close to you.
Definitely.
Thank you again. Congratulations. I think we should all clap a little bit here because I think otherwise makes it very dull. So applause. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And congratulations again. Number 5, difficult to pronounce name. Gunda Punidi Vijay Kumar. Vijay, are you here? Vijay Kumar, are you here? All right. Guess not. So our best wishes and congratulations on behalf of the entire team to Vijay. We'll get across to him and convey our best wishes. A round of applause for Vijay. Number 4, Sarthak Malik. Sarthak, are you here?
Hello.
Hi, Sarthak.
Yes, sir. Going for my intro, I'm Sarthak Malik from Muzaffarnagar, UP. Currently, a BTech electrical second year student from IIT Roorkee.
You're from the same institution that I went to a long time ago.
Yes, sir. Actually, I can say I started machine learning, deep learning, and data science after COVID. My interest started after the vacation started, so I thought of doing something, and then I started with web development. Later on, just went to data science. I'm doing that for the last 1 year.
Well, terrific, Sarthak. Glad to know, and congratulations. Thank you for participating, and please do keep up the good work.
Yes, sir.
Number 3, Chinmay Kurade, are you here? Chinmay, are you here?
Yeah, hello.
Hello. We can see you.
Okay, so good evening, everyone, to all the panelists and also everyone in the audience. So I am Chinmay Kurade, and I am a final year student at IIT Jammu, and I am pursuing my BTech in mechanical engineering. So talking about my journey in AI, so I started my journey about 1 year back when I took a course on machine learning by Andrew NG, which is like a very famous course. And in that course, like even coding something simple like linear regression. So it was like very exciting for me, and my passion for ML, AI, and deep learning just kicked off from there. So, and I hope that this is just the start of my journey, and like I'm very thrilled to be the part of this AI revolution, and like I'm passionate to work and contribute in the field of data science. So, thank you.
This is very exciting, Chinmay. Thank you very much and congratulations. Next up, the runner-up is Aman Patkar. Aman, are you here? I know you're here. I've seen you. So, hello, Aman. Aman, are you there?
Yes, he is. You're on mute.
Aman, I think you're mute.
Okay, sir. Sorry, sir. So I'm Aman, and I am doing mechanical engineering from IIT Jammu, and I inclined myself toward this AI kind of things. So I started when this pandemic starts. So I think that what can I do in this meantime? So I started learning from various online sources. I read more kernels of Kaggle. So and also I work with some experienced person like Chinmay Kurade. So like I learn from my colleagues and my upper professors like I learn from experienced person. Yeah. So I also follow some YouTube channels also, and I have started independently. Yeah. And later I did course on ML from my institute itself. So this is how I learned this and make it out.
So that takes two from the same institution. Congratulations, Aman.
Thank you, sir.
And now for the grand winner, Siddharth Dhama. Siddharth, are you there?
Hello, I'm visible and audible. Hello.
Hello. Yes. Hi. Hi. Yeah, you are audible. We can hear you.
Yeah. I'm Siddharth Dhama. So I'm from Bagpat, UP. I hope you have listened the name. So I'm in second year student of data science and engineering, IIT Mandi, and it is one of the few rare branches, and I'm from the first batch of that branch, and I feel lucky to be that batch. My journey of ML and data science is very unique because before college I thought that it is just data entering and calculating statistics means, and because people around me used to do data entry jobs which were just copy pasting things. So after entering in IIT Mandi also, I was initially in electrical engineering, but then there's a provision of branch change. So I was going for branch change to CSC. I was more inflicted towards CSC, but due to the course structure of our college, they give us two courses in data science in first 2 semesters. So I somehow developed some interest in data science. And after second semester, I was confused between data science and computer science. So, but due to the pandemic, our exams were deferred to third semester. So after third semester, I finally made my decision that I have to go to data science due to my interest and all the things. In third semester, I gave only assignments and simple evaluations on the basis of algorithms. But the first hackathon which I give was this one, Univ, and it was a nice experience. And I would like to thank the organizing team for such nice efforts put by them. And I hope you will organize more hackathons like this.
Well, Siddharth, as you know, the plan is to have like 10 a year. So I hope you'll participate in all of them. But congratulations. Let me do something really interesting. Hang in there. We've got this. And I'm going to do share sound. And you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to hold on. Let's do this once more. All right, so this was for all the winners. Thank you again for making the very first Geoffrey Hinton Fellowship Hackathon a great success. As you know, there are prizes for the top 10, and our team will get in touch with you individually to figure out how to get you your prizes. The first prize is a cash award of 50,000 rupees. The next 4 runner-up awards are a cash prize of 10,000 rupees each, if I'm not mistaken. And the next 5 win Amazon vouchers of what is the amount, Himanshu?
500.
Okay.
500 rupees. Rank 6 to 25 win. 500 rupees.
Rank 6 to 25. All right.
Yeah.
So well, we should have then published the entire rank list here, and we will on our website. And my colleagues will get in touch with every one of you to make sure that we get you your awards ASAP. So again, thank you very much. We'll also share your certificates with you, which come with this. But most importantly, like I said, this is not the award is structured or the contest, the fellowship is structured to measure constant participation, improvement, and to create a community around it. So we do request and want that more and more people participate again and again in upcoming episodes. With that, I'd like to thank everybody for attending today's ceremony, and and obviously acknowledge the contribution of the team that did such a wonderful job in organizing this. The team is right here. Matangi had to go. Matangi is a senior data science leader, and she helps set up the problem. Then we have Sudhanshu, Atul, Nasir, and Himanshu, who are our team members who help put this together and will continue to help put together the future contests. And finally, the panelists and Joy, who were kind enough to attend today's event, to Vivek Valoria, Nisarg Dave, and Dipanjan Sarkar. Thank you very much for being present today and for sharing your experiences with us. Hopefully, we'll actually be able to have you here to do some of the things that we discussed today. So, thanks again. And yes, go ahead.
So, may we get code notebooks, hackathon notebooks, and all for reference of the code?
Yes. So what will happen is Atul will follow up and will tell you that I think we have a process. So we'll publish an answer as well as we have a debrief session coming up. I think Atul will announce it.
Yeah.
So to close this out, close the evening out, Atul, over to you.
Yeah. Hello everyone. I'm Atul, and one of the persons who is building this Geoffrey Hinton Fellowship along with my colleagues Sudhanshu, Nasir, and Himanshu. So just to get straight on the point, the next hackathon dates will be 26 June to 17 July. And we will also hold a nice debriefing session with the jury member who had set up the problem, so that every one of you all, those who had attempted the problem, can learn what could be an ideal approach to solve it, and also what were the common mistakes all of the participants had done, and can improve it in the further ones. So that's such a session only specific to the problem statement that was for the first hackathon will happen. And also we are planning to share notebooks of top rankers, so that a good community can be built up, wherein students who are still learning can learn a lot from the people who are getting good ranks in hackathons. That's it from my side. Himanshu, would you like to add anything?
Yeah. Sudhanshu, please go ahead. I think I wanted to tell the story about how you guys have built it actually.
Okay. So hello everyone. I am Sudhanshu Raj, undergraduate from IIT BHU. So first of all, I really want to thank our CEO Siddharth for giving me this wonderful opportunity to build this fellowship for you. So the journey of building this fellowship from scratch is a me. So it's kind of a roller coaster ride for me. So we believe that India as a country needs solution to a lot of challenges, and AI can act as a revolutionary tool to solving most of them. So we really want to thank all our jury members, Miss Matangi, Shailesh, and Atul, and our whole Univ.AI team as well. So support and love they have shown in building this fellowship and since from last 4 months. So thank you from my side.
Great.
Yeah.
So Nasir, anything else? Okay.
Just like to add one thing. Hello.
Yes.
So this is just our starting, right? We are just not going to stick to same old formats. We are trying to innovate as much as possible, right? So we have a lot of things in our back, and we would keep you posted via email. So keep checking your emails. You won't miss anything.
Absolutely. That's it. I think on this note, I would like to formally end this. We would really want to. Yes, so Mimify event, we will be announcing it through email, Aman. Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining in. This is has been a really a learning experience for all of us today, listening to Joy and the 3 panel members, and including Sid. So thank you, Sid, for being a fantastic host for us today.
And congratulations to all the participants, not just the awardees. We know all the participants had put in a lot of efforts, and in fact, it has been really tough for the jury members to select, make a list of those 10. Everybody had performed really well. Kudos to everyone.
Yeah.
So thanks very much. Thanks again, and have a lovely remainder of the week.
Thank you.
Stay safe, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.